Sarah is in San Antonio. Hey, Sarah, what's up?
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. How can we help?
Yeah, my husband and I own a graphic design and web design company that does just under $1 million a year.
Good for you.
We have 9 employees. 3 of those are part-time. And I have a question about small business banking.
Okay.
What are the best banks or brokerage houses where small businesses can take advantage of a money market to earn interest on cash in the business?
Be careful not to major in that. Spend enough time on it that you don't feel stupid with what you're doing, but you're not going to get rich with this category. You're going to get rich doing graphic arts with 9 people and bringing in $1 million in revenue and raising that to $2 million in revenue. That's where your wealth is going to come from. It's not going to come from making 0.37% more on your savings because you had a euro float on the thing, which is what you can actually do, by the way. But so the answer to your question is we use regional and small banks for Ramsey's banking. I do not deal with crap like Bank of America. They're bozos. I don't want anything to do with those guys. And they treat you like crap because they don't have any respect for you, and you're a big fish in a little pond when you go to your regional bank there in San Antonio. Maybe even a good credit union would be okay. And in terms of what I do with our retained earnings, we always are having a discussion with the banker quarterly. Okay, what are you going to pay us on this money that's just sitting over there? Because we don't have an option. It's got to just sit there. It's not there as an investment. I've got other investments. The retained earnings is sitting there to protect the business and to grow the business and to cover cash flow fluctuations, et cetera. It's not there for investment maximization. So, where can I pick up 1/4 of a point or a point or 3/4 of a point or something like that? And we've done some euro floats where they pull the money and float it in Europe and float it back every 24 hours, and we'll put limits on that. Sometimes we'll take a portion of it if we get it too big and sit down with one of our SmartVestor pros and drop some of it into a mutual fund, something like an index fund, and let it lay over there, and it'll earn a little bit more, but it's got a little more risk on it. I can get that money moved in about 48 hours, 24 hours, something like that if I need it, and very seldom do I have a huge hit. I've never had a huge hit that I needed money in 24 hours for. So I can move it over if I've got this decline in cash and I need to move some of it back to a more liquid situation. But by definition, it's liquid, so by definition, it's not going to make a lot. And the other thing that can happen is you can end up spending more time on it than the actual money that you make as a result of the time you've spent. You'd have been better off working.
Yeah.
So now spend enough time on it. Sit down with SmartVestor Pro. Say, okay, where can we park some money over here? Look at the rates. They'll have a money market mutual fund. You can look at that. They'll have an index fund or something like that you can park some money in and pull it back out. But I wouldn't have more than 25% of your retained earnings outside of there. You need the money laying in your local bank, and then talk to your local banker and say, you don't get this up, I'm going to shop you. And go ahead and shop them every so often. Keep them honest, right? But again, when I shop them, it doesn't, let's say in $1 million top line that you're sitting on $100K and you move it 1%, it's $1,000. You miss that on one bid on a job.
Okay. Can I ask a follow-up question to that, Dave?
Sure.
Is it safe to do business and personal banking with the same bank, or would you keep those with separate institutions?
I have my personal with my major bank. I always tell people to have more than one bank in business once you've got a little bit of size and you've got some size. Just to keep them honest, but also it keeps me from getting lazy on my banking relationship. Meaning I'm looking at it, I'm making sure they're giving me the stuff, because the other guy's always trying to get his foot in the door. And so we usually keep about 3 banks online, but we have one major bank that takes care of everything. And that's where my personal account is. It doesn't bother me a bit that it's all there. They're perfectly solvent. I don't have any issue with any of that. Here's what a bank is. A bank is a vendor. And if a vendor is a key part of your business, they're a big part of your business. then you don't ever want to be captive to a single vendor, because you only have one relationship and you have no place to go, because pretty soon they're going to start telling you what to do instead of you telling them what to do. And so I've always got on major vendors on anything. We buy millions of dollars of paper a year for printing, for books. Believe me, we have more than one supplier of paper. I want these guys bidding against each other. I do have one primary relationship that we do most of that with, but I am not married. Sharon is my wife. I got one wife. And so the rest of this is up for grabs. And so, you got to keep bringing it. You got to keep giving me fair deal, fair delivery, fair pricing, fair service. I'm not ridiculously hard to get along with. I'm not holding everybody to the nth degree, but I always need to have options with vendors. It gives you power.